The minotaur was possessed by the power he had. They clashed, blow after blow being thrown by the minotaur. Our hero easily blocked them. The girl who was standing behind them watched them and couldn't believe her eyes. With such strength, even if an entire crow guild fought against the minotaur, they wouldn't win. And that crazy guy, how could he smile in such a situation? Thinking back, it seemed like he was stuck, but he hated with every fiber of his being that made it seem like no matter how hard he ran forward, he was still treading water. In this unchanging reality, he felt helpless, whether in reality or in a game. The complexity was like hell. However, this world was now reacting to him more strongly than before. Our hero was good at fighting the minotaur. They had been fighting for a long time. He didn't attack much, only dodged. The minotaur was furious. "You're so strong, human, you can't even leave me a scratch." With quick movements, our hero jumped in different directions, and the minotaur could not keep track of him. And now almost the minotaur's strike reached its goal. But suddenly there was a notification that 5 minutes of the minotaur's rabies was over. Frenzy was a way to show all your strength in 5 minutes, even more. It was the minotaur's raven card, but a penalty would follow where he would go into anabiosis for 24 hours. The hero knew this with a smile, as he had passed through this maze before and had died here more than once. Standing near the mammoth, he counted his pack points gap. If you look at it that way, the difference of 19 levels is quite manageable. With 20 days left, our hero's goal was to reach 100 points. The frightened girl stood and asked our hero, "Finished already?" To which she heard in response that the rabies was over, but he only got rid of the minotaur for a while. When the maze changes, it will be 24 hours before he reappears. I thought he said he was going to be here for a month. Only 20 days left. It's over. After 20 days of battling the minotaur, attack after attack collected stats of 10 and 15. And eventually his values reached 100 points. "The longer you fight, the weaker you become," said the hero, and knocked out the minotaur with one powerful blow. But as he stepped on its head, he said, "It's time to infuse, calf. All that remains is to figure out what to do with you." From that moment on, our hero was gathering the interns into the company of old men. But the girl's soul had no desire in her eyes, which made our hero a little embarrassed. Therefore, he got a little angry. However, the girl immediately began to correct herself and said that she was very interested in it, and she had wanted to join something like this for a long time. The hero asked what she could be useful to the company in the future. "I have my personal contact skill," she quipped. "I'll be useful in running the company." But our hero already had that skill. "And that's it," he replied. She didn't give up hope, however, and suggested that she would never betray him. It was a total disappointment. She had already despaired, begging on her knees for him to keep her alive. It was then that she remembered the Brahma ring. Her elder brother had made a contract with China, and his payment they would give him the ring. It was an interesting offer. The Brahma ring had fallen into the hands of the Black Crow Guild. It was the best item one could obtain on the first floor. It increased movement speed, provided resistance to magic, and also allowed one to restrain the mana of monsters. Be that as it may, she wasn't lying. The only thing left to do was to sign the contract. The girl, after hearing this, was able to squeeze out the words, "Do we still need to sign the contract?" The hero began to read the memories of the world and, using the skills of fire and contact, create the contract. "It's going to be a little hot," he said. The girl watched in horror as he pointed directly at her with his fiery hand. She thought the seal would be on paper, but no such thing. The hero thought otherwise. "Congratulations on joining the Black Enterprise in turn." A level 1 soul brand was carved on the girl's face. Soul branding level acquired. It carves a brand on an object. The object branded must obey the skill owner's orders completely. Any actions that harm the owner are forbidden. In case of violation, the entire body is ignited and a horrific pain appears. The doors opened and our hero and the girl climbed out to the surface. "We're alive! We're alive!" exclaimed the girl with relief. The maze of the first floor was passed for the first time, so the guys would be on the coins as a nice bonus. "This will be a reward for the torment," the girl thought after seeing the coins, but the hero immediately cut her off by saying, "Trainee, get the dough here." At this point, no one had such a sum on their balance as our hero. At the last moment he told the girl to bring the ring in 3 days, to which she replied, "3 days? I can't make it that fast." But the hero didn't care. He just clenched his fist and activated the seal, and the mark of his hand began to ignite on her face. In a week's time, Korea's strongest guild, Tanjin Guild, plans to defeat the 3rd floor boss. The Tanjin Guild is the strongest guild in Korea. Also fighting in the tower are the United States, Europe, and Japan. But the stakes are very high for Korea. So far, there is still no announcement from the Chinese about help from another country. Wouldn't it be better to try to capture the tower on our own? I believe that the Tanjin Guild can do it without outside support. It was an interview on a large monitor in the center of the city. Our hero was walking with a girl and watched it, but he thought they were in such a hurry to act. Although not understanding what was there and how, he understood why they were in a hurry. They want to get as many good resources as possible. Each floor is given 90 days. In other words, there's no need to go to the third or even the second floor without reinforcing the rear. They wouldn't be able to handle the level of difficulty that would await them ahead, and there would be no second chance for humanity. The hero was already home, and he needed to gather information from the last month to find reliable information amongst the gossip and lies. He needed to go to people he knew and could trust. Through his phone he logged into the community of the Challenge Tower, and in a search he found the guys he needed. The first was a guy with the nickname Bald Head and a girl Wounded Fist. Kim, the guys are nothing like even their characters, and I played with them 2 years in a row. He never imagined that his first band would be set up like this. The hero applied the Eye of Truth and saw that the guy has no major flaws, and the magic is powerful, and the ability is useful in large-scale battles. The girl, on the other hand, has the ability to fight in close combat. They turn out to have the same level. It looks like they fought together, although they got along quite well before. The conditions to copy their techniques weren't so easy due to the fact that they were long-time comrades. They needed to reach the 20th floor of the Challenge Tower together, and then the conditions would be met. Now it was our hero's turn to tell about himself. My nickname is Captain Xanat. Lowering his head he said he was a little embarrassed. So why did I create such a nickname 11 years ago when I was 27 years old and I was live streaming on Paprika TV? So, are you a streamer? The guy asked. Not anymore, the hero replied. He was tight-lipped, but the guy said, relax, after all, we've played together so many times, and yes, we'll be more comfortable. How sociable they are. He remembered that there were those who wanted to betray and use him. He was so tired of being among hypocrites. Next to these guys he felt comfortable for the first time in the last month. This was how our hero found out what was happening while he was in the maze, the development of the main guilds of the world, the tendencies of streamers, and the Minecraft collective that was creating a factory and kidnapping people. Han, you've been missing for the last month or so you didn't take the test, right? The guy he was sitting with asked. But Han didn't understand what test he was talking about. Our company was riding in the car, and on the way a conversation arose about when the tower first appeared. A flood of players rushed inside. But from the second floor the number of deaths increased, so it was decided that those who passed the test would be able to climb to the second floor and higher. But there is not everything so simple, and the system cannot be deceived. So the confirmation code the head of the Association of the Awakened used to reduce the victims and collected people with powerful abilities. But in such a situation, the hero planned to use the created scheme of the association for his own benefit. After the association scheme was created, players who received a grade lower than F could not pass to the second floor. However, players who received a high grade were immediately invited to join the strongest guilds in the country. Therefore, there were 3 types of people gathered at the testing site. Those who frantically wanted the right to enter the tower, those who met those who had attained high ranks for the tower, and those who wanted to show off their power to enter to the entire world. Park Han from the Dark Crow Guild and Park Han Jin, the rising star of that guild. But the one walking behind was Kim from the Fighting Fathers Guild. But those who were there wanted to get rich and famous as soon as possible. I don't have time for that. I'll clear a path for myself now. The reporters are waiting for me, and I can't waste much time here. I came here because of you, so try your best before I get angry, he stated. Don't worry, we can handle it. They quickly began to disperse everyone. Give way, come on, hurry up, what are you standing up for? Shouted and shoved everyone. Who are you? Can't you hear me? Shouted one of the big man's subordinates in the direction of our hero. Move over for me, will you? I got my number and I'm waiting in line. Why should I move over? Stated our hero. And then a magical rising star appeared with shouts. Why can't you get rid of some asshole? With a swoop at our hero, I don't know who you are, but you're making a mistake. If you don't move, you're gonna get hurt. The situation was heating up, everyone was whispering around. It was Brother Park Han, the hero, who had activated the Eye of Truth. Seeing his abilities, he was offered copying conditions. By raising the copy target's interest to the maximum, one could copy an ability, and by raising the hostility to the maximum, one could copy one skill. After reading this, our hero became inflamed. What? Just need to be provoked. The girl who was in the maze with our hero earlier saw her brother pointing his finger at our hero, but she didn't realize who it was yet. The brother turned away and said that there was one who had mistaken the shores. At that moment, our hero breaks the bully brother's finger. The guy grabbed his finger, with the words, "What a freak," started to pull out his weapon and go to fight. But our hero was faster, throwing water at his opponent. With the speed of sound he kicked him in the leg and he fell down. No one noticed what had happened, they thought he had just stumbled. Ira couldn't believe her eyes when she recognized our hero and wondered why exactly he was here. What was he doing here? From behind, someone shouted contentedly. The big guy. Our hero baited the eye of truth, but there was a failure. The scan was rejected due to the difference in levels. The big guy's level was over 20. I didn't know he had a babysitter. Our hero told the big guy he needs an eye on him. But that's okay, he's a useful little guy, the big guy replied. Useful? You say that's what he's shipping to China. Isn't that Bark Dynasty ginseng? How about asking the right question, like how to get rid of side effects? The hero said. Enough, shouted the big guy and activated a level 3 dungeon skill. A cube began to appear in the building with only our hero and the big guy in it. He asked our hero, and he just stood there and watched as a protective wall formed around him. Necessary to restore mana. Eating the ginseng item of the core dynasty. But if you just eat it, there would be a side effect of magic poisoning. You must be agonizing over it right now, right? But our hero knew how to solve the problem. There were 3 items needed for this: the juice of Karasin, the moonstone, and most importantly, the mandrake root. I think you're on the lookout for mandrake root. I'll tell you where it is. Everything the hero said matched the scouts. Cold cream, this guy wondered. Big guy. Okay, I'll believe you, but there's one but. I'm warning you, no tricks or you're gonna get hurt. I will wipe you out. Our hero asked for 10 of the most valuable dungeons. It was an excessive, high price. The big guy didn't like it and decided to end it. But he didn't seem to realize that this deal and his life were now in our hero's hands. Outside, the hero's team was massacring the big guy's team left and right. If they keep this up, it's not going to end well for them. The dungeon skill was cancelled, and here our hero was already walking towards his team. Are you okay? Shouted the guys. You were simply kidnapped. I'll kill them all, you just say the word. Don't worry, we're fine, we've found common ground. At this time, a guy with a broken finger walked up to the big guy and started yelling. Are we just going to let him go like that? Let me get ready and I'll bury him. The big guy took him by the throat with one hand and lifted him up, saying, you're not his equal, so don't move, and if you ever do anything like that again, I'll kill you. What had happened in the Nutri dungeon? The guy wondered. He was so angry that his eyes were turning red. After saying I'll kill him, the copying condition was fulfilled. Our hero had copied the stealth skill. This meant that he gained a passive skill. He could control his breathing and heart rate. The control depends on the level of the skill. Now it was time to pass the felf. Looks like my trainee has seen mountain ginseng or something. Here we go, next. Come on in, our hero is here. The test is very simple. You have to hit the magic stone as hard as you can. All items and skills can be used. The hidden power of the stone is revealed during the attack. After the explanation, the hero will only use a dagger. That should be enough. The guy with glasses who was following the procedure said, whenever you're ready, you can begin. But our hero wasn't so simple and went straight to the supreme stone. But the guy wanted the hero to hit the middle stone. That was the starting stone. Simple players can't even activate the middle level stone, he said. But that didn't stop the hero. He instantly activated the power surge stat. Well, let's see what all the effort in the maze was worth. With lightning-fast power, he chopped the stone in half. It's not possible, shouted the guy with glasses. Most of the players don't qualify because they don't have enough magic power to attack a small stone and break a medium stone in half. He didn't even know it was possible. Congratulations, you got rank C, the guy yelled at the departing hero. Wait, I have to report this to my superiors. Report back in a week, please, asked our hero. What? Answered the guy, you want to ask for a postponement. For personal reasons, in a week you can report anywhere, said the hero. I know a few worldly wisdoms. One of them is the law is far away, but the fist is near you. All understood, said the hero with his blade in his hands. After these words to the guy definitely understood. After that our hero stood in the corridor and then came up. The trainee with whom he was in the maze. She held out her hand in which was a ring. Here is what you asked for, she said. Rama ring, difficulty of obtaining a resistance to magic plus 10, speed of movement plus 25, ability suppression plus 20. It could suppress the abilities of monsters. It came out even faster than I thought, said the hero. In response, the girl with a hot face screamed, I kept my promise to remove this stigma from me. But our hero only anointed his hand and said that he would look at your behavior and decide what your rank F cannot be. I thought you would have more than us. With surprise, said the friends of the hero. To which she replied that this is a temporary result and a week you need to retest. But he needed information on this, he said. Not to worry and that they should go to the tower and he will write to them a little later. The first test determines the rank based on magical power, and whoever passed the first passes to the second. The task is very simple to pass one of the dungeons of the tower restrictions. In complexity there is no need to only choose the difficulty and opponents. Then it will goblins or orcs all the same. But the place where our hero will go is the ruins on the first floor. Neither for those 11 years that they played in the tower, nor now when it appeared yet no one has not managed to pass that forbidden zone. The last time the hero was there was at the abode of the fallen. With an F rank, he couldn't go there alone because the guild guarding the ruins wouldn't let him through. The best option was to go there as a porter. Earlier, the guy he was walking with asked how he got here. He had to explain that he needed money to survive. Everybody needs it, the guy replied. I'm here to feed my wife and kids. The hero immediately realized he was one of those suicide players. With our rank, we must be extremely careful. Where they point us, that's where we go. There's no machinery inside and the ambulance won't come. Don't worry, our hero started to calm the guy he was walking with from the beginning. The ones in here will at least get home unharmed. Thank you, he replied kindly, and you're braver than the others. Finally the quest for the raid team begins. It was difficulty C, which had the conditions to kill the location boss and free the prince who was deep in the ruins. The reward was a choice, however, if the boss was not killed, the choices were limited. After traveling a long way, they have finally reached and will be able to rest until the raid team arrives. The hero stood as if nothing had happened, but then there was a special reward for the first conqueror of the tower. It was only visible to our hero. Next he was given a reward. It was luck and adaptability, which increased by 10. Also received a cold heart, the ability to remain calm even in a critical situation. But there may be problems with the appearance of emotions. A passive monopolization skill was also obtained. If the hero completes the quest alone, the reward for completing the quest will be the highest possible. The smile was up to my ears. How awesome was this? Although there are many incredible rewards in the tower, getting even one was a huge amount of luck. With a pass like this, I basically don't need luck either, the hero thought. Suddenly, a bright light appeared, and hunters started to appear, led by the leader, who immediately after appearing started saying, "Oh my head, I can't get used to this." There were 50 of them, quite a large number for such a raid. Our hero immediately used his eye of truth to see who the leader was. His name was Song Chong, and he was 29 years old. At this moment, his level was 14. The copying condition for our hero was to gain his trust during the raid, but it would be difficult for him. Wait, I can't believe the head of a top 10 guild only has that level. The main thing is to make sure that no one reveals our hero. If someone finds out about his power, everything will definitely fall apart. It got darker at first, and some magician in a hat started saying to follow him. If someone got lost, no one would look for anyone. He activated his level 1 lamp. The entire compound lit up with a red light. But what was it? There are arrows in the head and torso. Once inside the cave, the group was horrified to see the swarm of the group underfoot, who had killed many monsters, spreading out quickly and without any trouble or casualties. There was a frightening atmosphere in the cave that made goosebumps run down the body. Some guy waved his hand to the porters. "Here they are, they've arrived," he said. Our hero looked at the swarming group that had been fighting before they arrived. It was somehow strange that they had killed so many monsters without any casualties. The leader's strategy was somehow strange. "What's frozen?" someone shouted and punched our hero on the shoulder. "What's frozen?" "Go hand out water," said the guy. "All right, I'm a porter," our hero immediately realized and turned his attention to the guy in gold armor. It was a foreigner. What is that sign on his shoulder? He wondered. That's right, it's Shaun Guild warriors, some fragile creatures. Maybe I'll be able to make friends with someone. With confident movements, our hero presents a cup of ice and says, "You've done a good job. Drink up, chill out." At this point, he activated his level 1 communication ability. In response, it was received that our hero was shown interest. The man started to remove his helmet, but who was there? It turned out to be a very beautiful girl. Our hero did not understand at once, but then it came to him that it was the youngest daughter of a family of aristocrats. Teresa of Europe, a versatile player connected with divine power, with skills of attack, defense, and healing. The hero who saved Amsterdam from chaos, one of Europe's famous players. Now it was clear to our hero why they had suffered no losses, since she is best at dealing with all sorts of undead and other evil things. The hero could not understand why she was here, because now everyone wants to climb as high as possible in the Tower of Trials, and if I'm not mistaken, now there is a raid on the boss of the 3rd floor. Teresa was very happy after quenching her thirst. The hero wasted no time and applies the Eye of Truth to see what this girl is all about. But suddenly there was an error. The application of the skill was impossible because of the difference in level. It turned out that Teresa had level 20, but because the hero had recently gained the stats of luck and adaptation, he could compensate for the level difference. The Eye of Truth was now level 2, and he could look at players who were level 20 or higher. Now he could evaluate Teresa. Well, let's see, she would have excellent skills. After what he saw, the copying conditions were as follows. Teresa was among the top 100 players in the world. If our hero could rescue her from a dangerous situation, he would be able to copy one of the skills. Looking at the statistics, the hero understood why everyone admired her. That's it. That's what the career choice test is. That's why she came here. Teresa gave thanks for the water. It had sufficiently quenched her thirst. I should thank you, whispered our hero, for an ability that is highly prized by warriors. He would have the opportunity to receive the patronage of the heavens. The only thing would be to find out what situation could be dangerous for this paladin, and how he could save her. This was quite a heavy condition. Jongwon, urgently come over here, some person shouted out. The head of the raid came running over and saw that all the sentries had been killed. But who could have done this? Some kind of object is flying in the air. A notification appeared that the ruin guards were watching for trespassers. The time remaining is 10 minutes. It was a security system, a dormant bung. It only activated when trespassers appeared, and when activated, it could summon guards. If it's left untouched, nothing happens, but some idiot activated it that way. It doesn't matter now, it's in battle mode, there's only 10 minutes left. So little time. The guild leader knew that fighting the guards was suicide. At least half of the raid could die in this battle. He could have evacuated the civilians in 10 minutes, but he didn't want to. In his panic, he didn't want it to end like this before it had even started. After all, they had just gotten here and couldn't leave with their hands clenched. He had worked so hard to become the head of the guild to leave it like this. We are continuing the raid as ordered by the guild head. But the guy behind us replied they haven't even gotten halfway there. There are guards there who will attack from all sides. Sweat was running down the face of the guild leader. He was both angry and agitated, but he didn't want to go back. He shut the mouths of those who arose and ordered them to follow him. If anything, he would take full responsibility. Even without a second team, they had a chance of success. After all, they had Street Teresa with them, a girl who was in the top 100. She is strong and brave. She will help us. At this time, a group of people who were vacationing heard someone running toward them and saw a guy yelling, "What are you sitting there for? Didn't you hear that the guards woke up?" The guys calmly continued to sit there. They had faith in the guild they came from and began to calm themselves down, thinking that with such a strong guild, there was nothing to worry and fear. After all, they had probably already dealt with all the guards. But suddenly, a large hand appeared from behind the guy who had come running. With one sweep of the hand, the guy flew off. It was the guards. They were big, and flames were erupting from their equipment. The guys were surrounded by them and realized they were all in trouble. The guards began to advance, and the main forces of the raid team began to prepare for battle. The tanks were put forward, and the porters were sent back, thus forming a platoon. The tanks were handed out buffs and the hitters were ordered to get ready. The guild leader didn't waste much time and immediately activated level 3 steel defense and level 2 combat concentration. After that, the mage who was behind activated the level 2 Song of Angels. The guards were approaching, and the battle began. The first blow came at the leader. At this time, the solo players were surrounded and had nowhere to go. They asked for reinforcements in the large group that was fighting ahead. The leader started telling them that the solo players were in a dangerous situation. But the guild leader didn't care. He didn't even want to listen as he thought that there would be casualties anyway, and there was no time to think about the solo players. Unlike players who act cohesively, solo players in such situations are immediately lost. The guild leader heard everything, but still left them behind. It would seem that the solo players are finished, but suddenly Teresa appears and activates a level 4 cross skill, and kills the guards in one move. "Teresa, thank you," said the solo player who was barely standing on his feet from fear. Teresa stood and assessed the situation. 2 guards had passed through the rear of the raid group. That meant that the non-combat units were in danger. She was right. The porters had been defeated. The last one left was sitting under a rock and saw the guards coming towards him. It was the end, he thought, but our hero appeared with the words, "What are you carrying, old man? I told you you'd come home alive." A porter shouted from behind, seeing the guard approaching. At this moment, our hero activated the fire skill. Hitting with a fire attack, the guardian shattered into pieces, but our hero didn't kill him, as he needed to stay at the first level. "How did you get such power?" asked the man who was saved by our hero. In response, he heard only that he was just lucky. The hero wondered who could have awakened the guard, but it didn't matter anymore. At speed, Teresa flew by and took the man away from our hero. She thought our hero was bad after noticing him threatening the porter with a knife. "And perhaps it was you who woke the guards?" she asked. "You're under arrest," she said. Our hero stood there in shock thinking, "Who am I?" She started to attack. She didn't mean to hurt him, but our hero fought back well. Teresa got more than a little pissed off and didn't listen to what our hero was saying at all. "Well then, we'll have to do this." The hero in one motion shifted and shoved Teresa so that she crashed into the wall, and there he was with his blade near her face. "I didn't wake the guards, and if I had to, I would have killed them with my own hands." That's when the peddler started yelling, "Miss Teresa, why are you doing this? He saved me." Teresa realized with a goofy look on her face that she had made a mistake and started apologizing. But the hero said it was okay. He realized his actions looked suspicious. "Your name is Jean Heck. What reason are you hiding your identity?" Teresa asked. "For the same reason as you," replied the hero. "To apply. You invited the Shan Guild. You want to secretly obtain the Treaty of St. Peter for a profession quest. I, too, need some item that no one must know about." Our hero knew all the strategies for traversing these ruins. He offered a condition to Teresa. With her skills, she must help him, and the items he needed were in one place. "So, how's the concordance?" the hero asked Teresa. Later, there was a conversation between Teresa and the head of the guild. Teresa suggested that they could continue on their own while she excused herself for a bit. But the head started complaining that it would be hard for them without her. However, Teresa said that according to our map, they still have 20 kilometers to go, and the strategy is known to everyone. Not having her won't change anything. Besides, according to the agreement, before the boss battle, all the squad leaders have the same rights, don't they? She asked. Here, the leader had no answer. He agreed on only one condition, that she would return before they reached the room with the boss. Teresa promised to join them before the battle started. She also asked to take one of the porters. "Do as you wish," the head replied. At this time, the porters stood aghast and whispered, "It's a one-way whitewash. Boys, the main thing is, don't look her in the eye, or she'll pick you out for sure." Someone raised his hand with a shout. I'll go with you," replied our hero. The boys began to dissuade the hero that they knew for sure if he went, he would die. No matter how beautiful Teresa is, don't go with youth. No matter what our hero says, they definitely won't understand. But if that's the case, then, when you were young, did you ever have that moment when you were on fire with an idea? Right now, it's the love in me that's giving out, he shrieked. Even if I lose my life because of my weakness, everyone was shocked to hear. And so began the journey of our hero and the young beauty Teresa. They went forward, but as it turned out, they didn't have far to go, and it was all because the hero knew everything about this dungeon. They stood on the balcony and saw a lot of unclean things walking around the sarcophagus. Teresa asked, "Is this the place?" And the contract of St. Peter was in that sarcophagus. But they realized that they still had to remove the protection. Suddenly they got a notification that the master of the abode of the fallen was watching them. Our hero wondered. They were talking about the boss, but he had never been interested in the players. And now he decided to show himself. Teresa and the hero realized that they both see it. It's definitely from the boss. But what do the words mean? Teresa asked the hero. Does he see us as enemies? She asked. The hero immediately replied that, as expected, he recognized it and is watching. Jean Heck asked me, "A question for you. You said you know the way to pass." "Yes, I have known for a long time," replied the hero. "Then I must do it," Teresa replied and jumped straight to the monsters below. There were a lot of them. They spotted her right away. But Teresa activated the level 5 battle song skill. It helped triple her stats for 10 minutes. The hero asked her beforehand to attract the undead's attention, and the battle began. All the monsters noticed her terrifying power and rushed at her. Teresa released all the energy and thus attracted almost all the monsters that were nearby. Teresa activated the power of a level 5 saint, emitting such a bright light that all the monsters started to disappear in the vicinity. And so she swung her sword, chopping the undead in all directions until all the undead were gone and our hero began to take action. Thanks to her control over the mobs, our hero won't have to engage in battle and thus won't raise his level. A bright red lightning bolt flew towards the hero. The elite undead appeared, and thus the special dead rose. It was finally a mini-boss for our hero, and that was good news. Striking from the front was a guardian, but from where it came from the hero wondered. Most likely it was because he came with Teresa and the conditions had changed. The hero would need to take that into consideration next time. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more, and share your thoughts in the comments below.